Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. This is John from Flippin' Ain't Easy. And another good weekend, I think, for sales as compared to what it was the week before. Not sure how you guys are doing with your sales. I just don't know. There's a lot of little intricacies with eBay. I'm looking at my traffic, and I don't see a whole big change in traffic from the week prior when I was getting next to no sales. And yeah, I'm just trying to figure it out in my mind because whenever you get a jump in sales and not so much traffic, you're trying to think of maybe what did I do differently. That now actually, I do take that back now. I thought I had about a similar amount of traffic. I did actually receive a boost in traffic. I'm normally around the 75,000 impressions per day. And actually, I shot up around 90 to 100,000, 90 on Saturday, 100,000 impressions on Sunday. So that's like a 15 to 20% increase in traffic. And so I'm trying to think of, what did I do differently? And it's kind of weird. I had a markdown sale, and you guys know what happened to me in the past when I forgot to reset my markdown sale. Well, that didn't happen this time, but I had put my markdown sale from the middle of August to the end of September, just because I wanted to do it month to month. And it was like, okay, just so busy with the move, just so I don't forget, just put it all the way to the end of September. So like I think it was the 29th or the 30th, I went in there and I said, well, just so I won't forget, let me go ahead and start up a new sale and get rid of the old one. And I think that's kind of what kind of kicked my traffic in the butt. I can't prove it, but it's just kind of weird how like 24 hours transpires and then I'm just getting sale after sale after sale. And it's not really the promoted advance that I was doing and all that stuff. So, I really think that sometimes we could set our markdown sales to be too long. And I'm thinking at this point, 2, maybe 3 weeks max is going to be the sweet spot. I'd like to run it month to month, but maybe twice a month might be the best way to proceed. So I just thought I'd get that off my chest while it was on my mind. Now, for those of you just rolling into the live stream, see we have a few people in the chat. Please leave your questions and comments in the chat and discuss whatever's on your mind, reselling related. I'd like to get to that. If you're watching after the fact, of course, you can't, participate today, maybe next time, but you can certainly participate after the fact and put your comments and thoughts down below, even your questions, and I'll try to get to you. Can't always get to all the questions and comments, but I surely do what I can to do that. So want to just say hi to a few folks. Oh, real quick, no matter how you're watching this, hit that like button. That's all I ask. I take time out of my day, usually an hour, hour and a half, to do this once to twice a week. And really, it's time. A lot of you guys agree with this statement. You guys have told me this before. I'd be, better off spending sometimes out there shipping and not shipping, but listing. But in my mind, it's time well spent with you guys. And, I learn a lot from you guys, and it really, it takes the boredom sometimes out of reselling to do this live stream, to get out here to talk to you guys, to share my experiences. So it's rewarding for hopefully you, but definitely for me as well. So hit that like button, and that's really all I ask. So we have Biff Boffo in the house. Kevin Hawthorne is with us, Ed the Reselling Writer, who was on with us on Friday. Martin Greenberg, the Disgruntled Octopus, Savage Pickers, the legend, the man, the myth, and the legend, Tommy Bernard Podcast is in chat with us. Eddie Estrada, we have Doug, If It Flips, It Ships, Chris Morris, Daniel Garrels, I think I got that right, Art Betzold, and No One Design 2. And I'm sure there's many more of you. Do me a favor, just drop, say hello in the chat. I'd like to hear from you to see who we have. We have about 45 in the house right now, and I'm sure we're going to get a little bit more than that. I think last Monday we got over 100. viewers at one time. And I think we've only hit that mark only a couple times. So thank you. That tells me that there's quite a few of you that look forward to these live streams. It only used to be maybe about 20, 30, maybe 40 people. And the fact that we continually seem to grow, that's really awesome to me. So I woke up this morning to a message from a buyer, and this buyer bought it's a pneumatic staple gun. It's one of those you hook it up to your air compressor, and it was about a 5-pound item. And I'm here in Vegas. I shipped it out to New Hampshire, and of course, anybody who knows their shipping knows that you certainly don't want to be shipping that by USPS. That went out by UPS ground. And so he sends me a message saying, hey, they tried to deliver it today, but I have it set up with my P.O. box. And can you please contact them to have them send it to this address, which is my actual home address. So I got up, did my shipping, came in here and said, okay, I'm going to check on this a little bit more. And his address, it says box number like 83 in whatever city he's in. And I'm like, well, how did that happen? Because I have it set for UPS ground, okay? And the excluded addresses, of course, Hawaii, Alaska, all the, the FPOs, whatever those are, the bases like in Guam and all that, those are excluded, and PO boxes are excluded. And normally what happens is if someone was to try to buy my item, it'll say, no, you can't use a PO box for this. That's what the whole purpose of it is. So I'm trying to figure it out. I call UPS. They won't deal with me because I don't have eBay's account number. And so I wanted to kind of share my experience with you. So maybe if this happens to you, you kind of know how to proceed. Now, running my own department when I was in the corporate world, we actually used FedEx for, overnight, mostly overnight. And we couldn't just say to a customer, call FedEx if you haven't received the item to find out where it's at, because FedEx wouldn't work with them if they didn't have the master account number. Because see, they may have ran the shipping label, right? Or actually, in this case, we ran the shipping label, and they're calling to figure out what's going on. They have the tracking number, but they can't say, change the address here. That has to be done by the account holder, whoever has that account number. Now, none of us have the eBay account number. So whenever you run a label on eBay, and many of us do, and I'm talking about UPS ground, and I'm sure it's still the same thing for FedEx. If you were to call and say, I want to make a claim on an item, or I want to change an address, first of all, it's just like impossible to get a hold of anybody. But when you actually eventually do, they won't mess with you because you don't have that master account number. So I ended up calling eBay. So I said, eBay, you need to call and work with this customer. You're very interested in maximizing the customer experience. Well, here's your chance. This person's reaching out to me. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm just trying to help a customer avoid this thing coming back to me. And their first response was, well, go ahead and let it come back to you and then just run a new label. Well, I'm not spending almost $18 again because eBay didn't want to step up and help the customer. So we went back and forth, and eventually they said, well, you've done everything you should be doing. You need to have the customer, the buyer, call us, and we will then work with the buyer to see if we can get that address changed. That's what they told me. Now, whether he was tired of dealing with me on the phone or what it was, I can't tell you, but I sent a message to the buyer. I let him know, here's the number for eBay. I happen to have that. I gave him the number to eBay, and I told him, look, you're going to have to basically say you're a buyer. And the only way you're going to get the option to get someone on the phone is to say that you're having trouble buying something on eBay. Okay. It's a white lie, but it's the only way to navigate the system. It'll then thank you for being with eBay for X amount of years, and then send it over to a rep. And then once you get that rep, you get someone in the shipping department. Don't really waste a lot of time with the first rep, because the first rep is just a front level rep. They're there to handle basic things, and anything above and beyond that, they're going to end up putting you over to someone else anyway. So I told the rep after she gave me a generic answer to just send me over to the shipping department. And they did. And I'm sure I went from the Philippines to Colombia because I could tell by his discount, but by his accent that he was from that office, which is cool. I had pretty good dealings with the Colombia office. And that's when he told me, look, just have the customer call us. Now, I sent this message to the buyer this morning, and I haven't heard anything back. So I guess no reply is good news, right? Just like no feedback is good feedback as far as I'm concerned. But what was funny is, as I was on hold with eBay trying to sort this whole thing out, it took me like an hour, and I shouldn't even have messed with it, to be honest with you. My first response should have been to just tell the guy, call eBay and sort it out with them. Archie called me and said, look, I just sold this Halloween decoration, so it's a seasonal thing. He sold it on auction, and the buyer provided a PO box. Now, he didn't have the PO box option clicked, so it gave the buyer the option to do that, even though it's a large, I don't know what it's called. If he's here with us, Archie, if you're in the chat, just let everyone know what it is that you were trying to sell. So basically, he's like, what do I do? Do I send the message to the buyer? I said, go ahead and send a message to the buyer. If they get back to you, it's up to you if you want to change the address because it's in the eBay messaging system. But what eBay will tell you in that case is give it a couple days. Like they told him, give it 48 hours, wait for the buyer's response, and then ship it out once you get the address. The problem is, if you have next day handling, you're going to totally take a hit on your late delivery, and that's going to be a defect. Now, the rep says, well, I'll take a note and you call us back if that happens. That's just too much effort to have to deal with, too much time to get someone on the phone, and too much effort to hope someone's going to get on the line with you and to try to resolve this thing. So two different scenarios involving PO boxes. The one with Archie, if you get that PO box, maybe you just forgot to click exclude PO box in your shipping policy, give that buyer a chance. And you may not even want to mess with it because, a lot of people will tell you if you change the address, it's totally on you. That's not always the case, because I've been told by reps in the past that if there's a correspondence from the buyer stating that the address is incorrect, that they will take that into consideration when considering your item not received case. So he decided basically he was just going to resell it, I think. But, too bad for him, because, most people have their decorations out for Halloween. And it's a Halloween decoration. And we're here on the 3rd. He puts it on auction for 5 days, the 8th, right? If he listed it today, by the time it gets to that person, it's going to be the middle of the month. And most people really are already having those decorations out for Halloween. So I don't know how that's going to work out for him. He said he was going to try to sell it locally. That might be the better way. In my case, and Archie called me and pointed this out, I went back to the address. It says box 83. Didn't say PO box. So I think, like Archie said, he may have ran into an issue where it wouldn't allow him to pay due to an invalid address. He may have removed PO and it worked for him. And I'm not going to say the word rural because I'm bad at saying that word, but I just said it. Route box numbers, where it's like a USPS situation where they deliver it. All the main carriers will deliver it to those kind of boxes, because that's not really an actual USPS PO box. But that's not what's going on here. This guy, I'm sure Archie was right. This guy tried to circumvent eBay's policy, or at least my shipping policy, to allow for PO boxes. And all you do is I'm sure it looks for that PO box designation. And if it says something different, it's just going to think it's a valid shipping address, and it's going to allow it to happen. So again, I didn't do anything wrong. Hopefully it works for him. We can get the address changed and all's well with the world. But if it comes back to me, I'm going to basically not refund him his original shipping, because that's on him. And if he wants to have it shipped back out to him again, he's going to have to PayPal me the exact amount for that label, and I'll be glad to ship it to that updated address. So comment in the comments. As we get more sales in Q4, you're going to get more sales, more opportunities to run into situations like this. A lot of misunderstandings sometimes. Like, look, I'm buying this Christmas present for my Aunt Thelma, and she has a P.O. box, right? And they don't have, maybe that's all they have for her, and they're going to try to have you ship it. You're going to run into P.O. box issues as you sell enough items. And just learn from my experience, your buyer may reach out to you and say, please change it while it's en route. And just know that there's really not a whole lot you can do. They need to contact eBay. I guess that's to put it all in a nice little package. Just call eBay, because as a seller, I've done everything I'm supposed to do. And if I could help you, I would. But because it's all under eBay's account, they're the ones that you need to deal with. So hopefully you learn from that experience. And it's just something that I learned from as well, because I was trying to handle it. And eBay doesn't even want to deal with me. They want to deal with the buyer. Biff Boffo says, new month, how's your year to date compared to 2021? I'm down 2.8%, not too bad in this economy. That's a good question. I haven't really looked. Now, it depends on how you do your business. A lot of us resellers do it calendar year, right? From January to December. There's some that have like an LLC, or the way they do their business, they do it by from October through September. That's the fiscal year. So fiscal year 2022 is already ended. But honestly, I didn't do a whole look at my year so far. I'm probably going to do that after we get done with the live. And that is definitely an interesting question. I can guess that I'm down at least 10%. And I think that's because, as compared to 2021, 2021 started off great for me. If you watch my videos in the past, I had a really, really good Costco B stock pallet, made pretty good, had a couple really good months because of that. And really ever since then, it's been kind of just grinding. That's the best way I can describe it. Kevin Hawthorne says, good evening from Lakeland, Florida. Hopefully you guys are doing okay there in Florida. Hopefully you guys didn't get hit too bad in Lakeland. I know that's sort of south central Florida, if I recall correctly. And that's right in the crosshairs. So hopefully you guys are doing okay. Ed, the reselling writer, says, hey, John, we got Martin Greenberg. Greetings from Texas. How you doing, Martin? Disgruntled Octopus says, I'll catch the replay. My barber has gone mad at me because I have AirPods in. Yeah, you don't want to have him like nick your head or anything, because he's irritated at you. There's few people in this world you really want to tick off, and that's like the chef that cooks your meals, maybe your barber. And if you can come up with any more, put them in the chat. But yeah, you don't want to make your barber mad, that's for sure. Ed says, I'm taking down many of my shoe mistakes. So for 30, 40 gallon bags full, so I can make room for my new inventory with my new, better knowledge in my niche. So what are you going to do with those items? You're going to donate them. You're going to put them on auction, maybe auction them off 99 cents plus the calculated shipping. Now, with your calculated shipping policy, maybe add like $1 or $2 handling. That covers your materials, right? I usually do about $1 for my regular package. I have one that's for really, really large ones, a policy set up for maybe over, I'd say 30, 40 pounds, where I charge $2 handling. But it's all built in, and I already offer the discounted rates anyway. A lot of you may not even go in and offer the discounted rates for your shipping. So the buyer's seeing the retail side of it. So you're making money on the shipping. It just depends on how you want to do it. And if your prices are good enough, you can get away with it. Savage Picker says, hello all. Sales have been terrible with the capital T. Had another return today as well. I've been listing each day and trying to refresh my store as well. Speaking of returns, I had a return yesterday, and I'm like, oh, no, not another return. I love returns. And it was a regular return, and it says accept the return, and it had all the other options. And I'm like, wait. So that was on the app. Go on the computer. This person bought it 45 days ago. That's a reject. It ain't happening. We're not taking that return. Tommy says, remember a couple of weeks ago I said I do my sales every 2 days. There's always a reason. And then Eddie says you should sell the shoes at the flea market. Yeah, I think if Ed has all those shoes, have a yard sale. Put them out for $1 or $2 with some of your other things. They'll sell for sure. Doug from the UK is in the house. And let's see. Eddie says, yeah, my sales have gone down, but I think it's because I forgot to list one day. Eddie, one day is not going to kill you. I think eBay sort of expects people to take a day off here and there, but one day missed isn't going to kill you. It's that 2-3 consecutive days, no activity. You may want to just check your traffic, see how your traffic looks, see if it's in line. So if you average 50,000 impressions a day and you dip down to 30 or 20, well, then something's going on there. And that's where you start. You want to start with your traffic. And I know the instinct, even with me, is to say, wow, I had a great sales day or I had a bad sales day, and to kind of leave it at that. But you want to see how your traffic was as well, because chances are sales up, sales down, traffic's going to be up, traffic's going to be down. Chris Morris says, can you justify Poshmark charging 20% fees? I think it's ridiculous considering their platform is honestly bad and just bots liking and sharing your post. There are sales in eBay does in a day. Yeah, sales in a year, eBay does in a day. Well, they're not taking bits and pieces from other platforms. And I guess you could say eBay has done too much of that. And really, for me, maybe eBay needs to get to that, get back to who they are and stop trying to be like other people. And Poshmark has kind of stayed true to who they are. Now, you'll notice that in many cases, you can get more money for your item on Poshmark than you can on eBay. Now, of course, you're going to be people sending you lowball offers. I get that. But as far as just putting it out there, if you're looking at the comps on Poshmark as compared to the comps on eBay, and we're talking decent items here. We're not talking about faded glory stuff, right? The chances are you're going to find better, higher prices that have sold for those higher end brands than they will on eBay. And that's probably where the justification comes in. Now, real quick plug, I deal with Prime Lister. They're a cross-listing software. They have new features they just put in that allow you to just have it automate the sharing process on Poshmark. So it'll do all that mundane work that a lot of us don't even want to mess with when we're selling clothes and shoes. Check that link down below if you want to give them a try, like a 2-week trial, 14 days, and they don't even ask for credit cards. So that's the plug. Check it out below and see if that works for you. Daniel Garris, that is an I. I thought it was Garrel. Sorry. Daniel Garris says, is it just me or did eBay change today? All new format. Well, it depends. I mean, the new lister has been out for a while, and you may have been in that wave where they're forcing the new lister down your throat. Now, whatever reason, I'm working right now with the old lister on my new account. Now, I thought it was gone. The link to when I was in the new lister to try to get out of it, to go back to the old one, was gone. Wouldn't even give me the option. And now I piggybacked off of a listing, I guess, that where they use the old lister, and I'm in the old lister now. So I'm happy. I don't want to leave. It's so much better. You just click on item specifics in the new listing tool. It spins. And I have great internet. It spins, and you got to wait like 20 seconds for it to populate. Didn't ever have that problem in the old lister. And if you do that multiple listings a day, that's time. That's time that's out of your control, that's being taken away from you, that you can't get back. Art says, hello, John. How you doing, Art? We have No One Design 2 in the house. Hey, John and FAE guys. Top the Flip says, hello. So I didn't say hello. Great info on your chat. What's your opinion on calculated shipping? I use it all the time. If my item is over 2 pounds, so my shipping policies run like this. If it's 8 ounces or less, I do $4.99. If it's over 8 ounces, and a lot of times I'll just default free shipping on those that are under a pound. But if I'm charging shipping, I'll do $4.99. And I think I have one for $6.99 up to a pound. I don't know why I do it. I probably can get away with the $4.99 for the whole thing. But a lot lately has just been free shipping, because free shipping, free returns on those to get a little bit more of a boost. It's not going to cost me a lot for shipping, and I just build it in my price. Up to 2 pounds is $9.99. Okay, that's domestic shipping. And anything over 2 pounds, I'll throw into the calculated side, utilizing the dimensions and the weight of the package. And that's for UPS ground. And that's my sweet spot. And it works really well for me. And, of course, you can't, when you're doing your comps, you're trying to price everything. You can't go, okay, this guy sold his free shipping $60. And if you have a 4-pound item, it's probably going to cost anywhere between $10 and $15 on average, probably closer to 15. And you can't say, okay, well, I'm going to do 55, because then your item comes up as a $70 item if they're doing that search low to high. So you got to back your price down based on the approximation of what that shipping is going to cost. Now, sometimes that'll, if you back it down, let's say it's a $60 item, you back it down to 45, and someone in the next state buys it, it's only going to cost 55. Well, then you're going to place higher, a little bit higher in the low to high search. And I just like it that way. It's easier. You don't get burned. A lot of times, like one time, a couple months ago, I had this item. It was 5 pounds. I had free shipping because the comps had free shipping. But, I took an offer thinking I had paid shipping. Of course, I was on my app. I didn't do my due diligence. Shame on me. And I made $3 on the sale when it was all said and done. So I was a little irritated by that. And calculated shipping helps prevent mistakes like that from happening. Aunt White's in the house. Hello, fellow eBayers. And then Tommy says, I gladly pay 20% for Posh. eBay is way more than that said and done. Yeah, because if you are, let's say you're paying eBay already 13.5%, whatever the exact percentage is, and then you're adding 5%, 6%, even 10% on top of that, in many cases, you're paying more on an eBay sale than you are with Poshmark. Now, what's kind of cool is, I'm looking at I keep track of my promoted listings. And I'd say and I promote like 90% of my stuff on my main account. And only like 60%, maybe 65% of the items I sell are involving a promoted listing rate. That means like 35 to 40% of my items are being sold organically. So you can set, say, 5 to 10% as a promoted listing rate, but you're not going to be charged that on every item you sell. Chances are sometimes that buyer is going to click on the organic listing, and you're not going to be faced with that extra fee. So if you average everything out, let's say you do 10%, right? But if you're looking at your store as a whole, it really kind of, 10%, if you're doing like 65% of your listings at promoted, you're really, for all your listings, paying like 6.5%, if that makes sense. You're basically 65% of 10 to 10%. That makes sense. Maybe it doesn't, but in my mind, it's kind of, goes in 1,000 directions. You'd want to kind of cost average it out. Like, okay, I sold 100 items this month. While 65 of those 100 items, I was charged a promoted rate, right? What's the entire cost? And, you split that amongst all the sold items, and it's not as bad as it seems. But Poshmark has a different clientele. They have a little younger clientele than eBay, and it's just a different animal. And again, you just want to get your item out in front of more eyes. There's some people that look at Poshmark that aren't going to look at eBay, and it's just the cost of doing business. Wickedberg is in the hizzy, and thanks for being in the hizzy. I certainly appreciate that. Eddie forgot to restart that store sale. Got to restart it, guys. Also, right now, I can tell you because I've already ordered mine. Get your supplies. The Q4 coupon, if you have a store, is under subscriptions, under the Seller Hub. Go get it. Use that 25, 50, or whatever coupon you have. If you have a bigger store, you don't need me to tell you that. Get your supplies while they're there, and it's a good time right now, just in general. Shame on me, I didn't place the order. I have like $200 worth of supplies waiting for me to have them shipped from Amazon. But don't catch yourself like mid-November with a bunch of orders to fill that, I ran out of bubble wrap. I ran out of poly bags. I ran out of boxes. Make sure that you're stocked up. Right now is kind of the time to just make sure while it's still somewhat slow and not as busy as it's supposed to be. My lovely wife, Jen, is in the house. Hey, flippin' fam. Hope you're all well. She just set up our Christmas tree. That thing is a behemoth. We got that thing at the yard sale. Basically, the guy it was in a model home. He moved into the home and they had their own tree. The thing was 10 foot tall and he had it packaged in the box, the retail box. Bought it for $60. It's a $400 tree. That thing is huge. And she was all excited to set it up. And normally we don't set it up till like November, but she was like really excited to get that up. And good thing we have some tall ceilings in our living room because it wouldn't have fit it. It wouldn't fit in a normal house. Ed says Poshmark is awesome, even with the 20% fee. I agree as well. Renee Kingsbury says USPS saying that they will have a delay of 3 to 5 days. So is eBay going to allow for this, or should we put handling out further? They should be. I mean, I say they should be. I mean, I remember when we were having difficulties 2 years ago with the major delays with USPS, and it took them literally a month to give us that consideration. And, it was too late for some people. They were hit with late deliveries. The problem with putting your handling out further is your competition may not be. And that's just one thing that's going to potentially lower your search rankings, because it's not just one thing, it's a collective. And, I'm just going to roll with it. See, so far it hasn't been bad. And we'll see how it goes. If I start seeing stories where, it's crazy, I start seeing it myself, then I'll start looking into going to maybe a 2 day to a 3. I have it right now 1 day. I used to have same day, but that same day was just a little bit too much. 1 day is for me the sweet spot. No One Design 2 says with promoted eBay is way beyond 20%. I wish eBay was a flat 20. I wish so too. There's a lot of things I could change about eBay if I could. Not to mention all these coupons and markdown sales. And that just takes away from your profit, right? Now, of course, I guess you could say the same thing about Poshmark. You could send a discount to a buyer as well. And that's how you get a lot of your sales. Sometimes they'll make you an offer or you're making watchers an offer, but it's all the same. I think you just need to get your items up on all the platforms if you can. Home pickup with USPS now. Thanks. Well, it's been around for a while. I got to tell you, and now that you mentioned that, my carrier is just nuts. Okay. She consistently keeps showing up at 7 o'clock at night, and she's looking at me like I wasted her time when I told her, look, I already took the packages in when you didn't show up at 4:40. I mean, 4:40, boom, I'm gone. Like today, I had 2 big, and I call them Santa bags, those big USPS bags full of packages. And I thought to myself, well, I got to run to the store today. Got to get some stuff at the store. While I'm out, might as well just take them, right? I don't have to feel like I'm rushed. And even if she came, if the doorbell rings during this live stream, she's probably going to look at us sideways when we give her 2 big bags. I mean, she's used to one, average size filled bag. And for me, I'm not waiting until 7 o'clock. I'm not going to take that chance to where it's going to hurt my account. So hopefully you have a good carrier. If they do a good job, give them a good week or 2, go buy a Starbucks card and say, you know what? Thank you for everything you do. Thanks for taking care of me. Tell you what, that carrier will take care of you. I didn't get a chance to do that with this carrier because 2 days in, she was just all over the place. And she has seniority. According to the backup carriers, she has seniority. She lied to me about saying she couldn't get me bags, those big bags. I asked the replacement carrier. He's like, you know what? I'll come here on Saturday. I'm filling in for her then. Brought me a bunch of bags. So to act like I don't know what you're talking about when I need some bags, I told her, look, I'm just trying to help you out. You're picking these up, and it's easier for you to pick up a bag than it is to pick up these packages individually. So I don't know. I think it's definitely time to try to talk to the postmaster here at the local post office and say, something's not right. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. It's not the end of the world. I mean, it does save me 30 minutes out of my day. But thankfully, if you guys don't have it set up, if you have steady packages, a few here, a few there, set it up. If you know you're going to make a sale every day, just set it up and just put a a guesstimate. Doesn't have to be perfect. I have 10 packages they're expecting 10 packages. Some days they get 3 or 4, some days they get 2 bags full. And that's just the way it is. And it's worked out for me just fine. Tommy says, you don't pay fees on anything other than the sale price on Poshmark, not shipping, no promoted fees, and not tax either. Have to look at the big picture. You do. It just seems like a big number up front. And I think they just do it to simplify the process, if I'm being honest about it. Simplify is in the house. Thanks for hanging out with us today. And then Miss FAE, I see you toned down John's redness. Actually, I love these lights. I have 2 of them up mounted on the wall, and I can get any color I want. And I just thought, you know what? Change it up every show. Maybe I'll have green next time. And because my walls are like a beige color, it doesn't always come off the color I think it's going to be. And so I get a chance to learn, well, what's, green and beige make? I don't even know the answer to that. I guess we'll find out next time. Aunt White says, eBay's email to me says I'm a top seller now and I would be getting a discount on final fees. I'm not seeing any change. Well, that's if you offer free returns. If you don't offer free returns, you'll still be a top rated seller. But on the listings where you offer free returns, you will get a 10% discount on those listings. I'm top rated, and some of my listings I offer free returns, and I get that reminder from eBay every once in a while. If you change the free returns on your other 200 some odd listings, you can get a 10% discount and be considered top rated plus on those listings. Let's see. Simplify says, when my items are lost in the system 3 times, never were recovered, and ouch. One of those had insurance either. Low cost item, but it still hurts. It does. It's the idea that now the items out there, you don't get the item back necessarily unless it's a return. It just gets returned back to you. Maybe it's undeliverable or whatever, and it finally finds your way back. Chances are you're out the item and the money. You can call eBay. So let's say they file an item not received, and after, I think it's 7 days of inactivity on the tracking, you then have to provide this is if they've opened the case up against you 10 days after the last update or 7 days after the last update. Now eBay wants you to do something, and that something is to give the buyer a refund. Now, if a few days later that package turns up and they get the item, then you can call eBay, and I've been told, this has happened to me before, and they've actually given me my money back, and all was well with the world. I don't know if they pursued the money from the buyer or not, but they took care of me. Aunt White says, got to go buying an RC Gorman painting from Marketplace. Awesome. Well, good luck with that. Cat Whisperer says, I've had this happen, and I've refunded buyer after I've received package back. Reason was undeliverable address, then block the customer. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to. This buyer may not ever buy from me again. I don't have a niche store. I don't get a lot of return buyers because I sell everything and anything on this main account. And chances are this person's never going to buy from me anyway, even if they're, back on here looking for something else they might need. But I think it's a good idea when you have that kind of thing happen, because there's a small chance this person tried to circumvent the policy or the address so that it looked like a regular address, even though it would flag a PO box, if that makes sense. Bearded Poke Tuber says, hey y'all. Ed says, do you think it's better for support eBay business or calling? Whether you mean eBay for business on Facebook or calling, you know what? I have hit and miss success with eBay for business, and they don't always get back to you right away. So maybe a combination of the two. Try calling, and if you don't get anywhere, then as a secondary way to handle it, contact eBay for business. No one designed to. Jenna Miller, you should handle John's production set and be his set designer. Well, she is working with me. She's helping me out, but she's too infatuated with that Christmas tree. So that'll keep her busy for maybe a week or two. But yeah, that's all she wanted to mess with after we got back from the yard sales, setting up that Christmas tree. I might disappear in the background. You never know. I don't know what this thing's is capable of doing. I thought I would last week, red on red. It never worked that way. So, wow, we have 112 people right now watching. While you're at it, hit that like button, guys. I'd certainly appreciate that. Let's see. Bearded Poke Tuber says, I'd cancel and put problem with buyer's address. That's what I told Archie to do. Cancel, problem with buyer's address, block, and find another way to resell that. Ed says, I don't mind shipping to P.O. boxes. I've never had a problem with them. But the problem is, of course, when you're shipping to a P.O. box, I believe unless you're using, I think with FedEx, they have a certain type of shipping that's, was it post? Maybe, finish my thought down in the chat. I don't know what they call it, but it's a method where FedEx hands it off to USPS. SurePost. I don't know if that's right or not. And that I think allows for P.O. box. But see, when you're selling larger items that are over 2 pounds, for me, I don't bother shipping USPS because I'm not trying to pay a lot to ship it. And UPS ground works out well, but they just don't deliver to P.O. boxes. Michael Biddle's in the house. Thanks for joining. I appreciate that. Tommy says, if you have priority mail as a carrier, it's on you. Nothing to do with the P.O. box. They don't cost a dime more. Have to use UPS as a carrier to avoid P.O. box. USPS they own the P.O. boxes. No other carrier can deliver to them. And you're right. And I had that set, calculated shipping, UPS ground. When you offer calculated shipping, you have to put the exact method you're going to use. And this guy just tried to circumvent my shipping policy. I'm certain of it, unless that's just what he does with all of his shipments. It just put box number. But why? It doesn't take up but a few characters on the line. There's no need to keep PO out of your second line of the address field. So I don't know. Let's see. Mother's mustache. I love that. Is that like that's a hairy woman, I guess, huh? My USPS PO box offers a physical address for deliveries now. Yeah, you definitely just want to have that duplicate. If you don't want anyone to know your address, but you have a large package coming, and you know that there's been problems in the past delivering to your PO box, just make sure that it's not being sent by FedEx or UPS, so you don't get. And I think eBay flags it anyway. I just really do. I think that's right, because Archie was having that problem, and I think it flags it. But he didn't have his set for omitting a PO box, so that's the difference there. Christine says eBay says it's their customers, so let them deal with it. I think you're right. eBay is so gung-ho over the buyer experience, right? Why am I worrying? I mean, yeah, I got to make sure my buyer's happy when I make a mistake or answer a question. Let the buyer know that I care, maybe give them information, but to say, you know what, you might want to reach out to eBay here, because I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't cause this problem. And chances are the buyer caused the problem. But of course, they're never going to own up to that. Doug says, anyone shipping to the UK, bear in mind that industrial action by Royal Mail striking workers here are causing delays on package deliveries. That's good to know, Doug. I usually, I'd say once every 2 weeks, end up having a UK customer on my other account where I'm shipping them a patch or something like that. So that's good to know. If it flips, it ships one says, I've been using UPS and their prices are way better than USPS. Yes, on large items. Now, USPS's sweet spot is 1 to 2 pounds, or under anywhere from 0 to 2 pounds. Anything more than that, UPS is a lot better, more competitive than they are. Chris Moore says, does anyone know if eBay still has all time sales option to view anymore? Good question. I don't know. I haven't looked in a while. I haven't even looked at the last year. So something maybe I should have the answer to before I come live. I'll try to have that information handy next time. Let's see. And Ed says, definitely don't want to piss off your mechanic. Yeah, you don't want to do that. You might not be able to stop. So definitely. BiscuittButt's in the house. What's up, FAE fam? And then Mikey Bags of Money says, hey, BiscuittButt. And No One Design says, what's up, Archie? And he had that problem with the P.O. box earlier. Ed the Reselling Writer says, I'm giving them to my father-in-law. He sells at the flea market, those shoes that you weren't selling. He gives me things and I give him stuff as well. That's awesome. That's awesome. Don't piss off your dentist. So definitely don't piss off. Oh, no. Going in for a root canal, they may not give you enough anesthesia. No. I like extra. I like extra anesthesia. It's like having that extra sauce on your hamburger. Give me extra anesthesia. And I don't care if it takes me twice as long to get over it. I don't want to feel anything when that's going on. No One Design says, hit the like button, guys. Let's get John some money to hire Miss FAE as set manager. If I did that, I'd have a bunch of like flowers and stuff behind me. I don't know. I'm not sure how well that would go. Daniel Garris says, so today I went to list on eBay. The format has changed. This is the new format I believe you spoke of a bit ago. Yeah, that's the new platform you're going to have to deal with. Now, if you don't like it, there's a chance that you can do one of two things. There's 3 dots in the top right corner of the screen, and you'll click on it, and there's a chance it may say switch to the old lister, but good chance it's not going to be there. You may want to go in and piggyback off maybe an older listing of yours where you listed with the old lister, sell similar, and see if it allows you to use the old lister. That's what I did. And I've been using the old lister. I'm happy. Knock on particle board. They don't take it away because it's just, I like the other day, I was looking for where is my, I was shipping, making an auction, right? Where is my auction to set my auction my handling period? I couldn't find that. I couldn't find my returns. It was just all over the place. And you click more for more information and it pops up. We have Christina. Thanks for the super sticker, Christina. I appreciate you. Thank you very, very much for hanging out with us today. But that's awesome. I really appreciate that. See what we have here. Just Jana says 0 items sold on a payday weekend. Uh-oh, here we go. I have lots of good items up, but that doesn't seem to matter. Peeps are starting to only buy food and gas. Scary. Yeah, this fourth quarter is going to tell the whole thing. It's going to tell the whole story. I am hopeful. Now, I did a video months ago saying that we're in trouble. Inflation's hurting the whole country, hurting the whole world, actually. You watch news outside of the U.S. to see what's going on in the world. It's not good. Now, again, people still have money. There's people out there with money in their wallets, money in their bank accounts, and people are still able to buy your items. Now, more sellers, less buyers makes it difficult, but you got to make sure you're doing all the things you're supposed to do. One thing is if you were experiencing sales and you notice a drop off like I did, maybe it's time to end your markdown sale and start a new one. Maybe run it every 2 weeks and don't do a 30-day. It's kind of, as far as my own criticism of myself, I think it's kind of lazy to do 30 days. It's just like set it and forget it. Look, I got a lot of things going on. I'll just set 30 days, 10% off. And I think I need to be a little bit more in tune, like messing with my accounting. It got away from me again, so last night I'm in there trying to go through and update my spreadsheet. It's a practice that I'm trying to just be more in tune with. I can't tell you how many times I forgot to change my markdown sale or reset it. And I suffered with a good week's plus of bad sales because of it. So just stay on top of your discounts. Don't let coupons expire. Don't let markdown sales expire either. Bearded Poke Tuber says, I love the way Posh does fees. Straightforward, no BS. I agree. Mercari, same thing. No hidden BS. It is what it is, right? And the fees are what they are. What I like about Posh and Mercari, if the buyer's buying the label, right, you're not getting feed on that amount that the buyer's paying for that label that they're buying. They're paying directly to Mercari or Poshmark. It's just, to me, a lot better. If you can merge all these sites into one, it would be perfect. You would rarely hear me complain. And I hope it doesn't always come off as complaining. I'd like to think of it just me being honest, BiscuittButt wants to know when Tommy's coming to Vegas. Where are you located out of, Tommy? I'm curious. If you don't mind. Let's see. No One Design says eBay got me too with the new lister. And yeah, it's just, It reminds me of the time, I think I told you guys, when I worked with the train company out here in the United States, where we went from paper tickets to electronic tickets. And that was an adjustment where we forced it down people's throat, and our policies changed big time. And it was the mentality of conditioning the customer, right? So we're the customer. eBay's conditioning you and I as sellers to learn it, right? And I guess it's better that they've introduced it over this last year. Now, some of the more stubborn sellers like myself have always clicked off of it. So now that we're forced to, like today, I wasn't forced to, thank God I wasn't. But tomorrow I might not have the option to go back. It's probably in our best interest now to just get, learn it, remember what the old one is in case we can go back to the old one, get used to it, because you're going to need to start getting those listings out. And it might slow you down now, but once you get the hang of it, you're going to be conditioned, which is the plan, to not have any problems with it. Tommy says, my 90-day on Poshmark is 21,000 fully bought run. I'll take that any day. I mean, now when you say fully bought run, are you talking about your listings? You can't be talking about your photos, your listings, probably all the other aspects of your account. Let me know more about that. I'm curious what you do. Biff Boffo, I've noticed the spinning in the new lister has stopped. And I took a screenshot earlier, actually yesterday, when I was in the new lister, and the thing just spun. I had to go in, hope that it saved whatever I did up to that point in the draft, and it did, and just launch it again. But it just shouldn't happen. Just shouldn't happen. No One Design 2 says, to get around it, I just list similar using my old listing I've ended. That's a good way to do it. And for those of you who didn't get what I said on the last one, if you're in the new lister, you'll notice that some categories do not allow you to use variations anymore. So like albums, LPs, there's a number of sellers who'll say, I'll take all these country albums and put 100 of them up. You pick the album in the drop down, and combine shipping and all that. And I was going to do that. Actually, I ended up doing that because I found an eBay rep told me, here's what you do. And so I found a listing that was currently up, sell similar, and sell similar seems to allow you to kind of go back to whatever method they used. And it's on my secondary account. The way I look at it is, if eBay has a problem with it, number one, they shouldn't have told me to. Number two, fine. They'll send me an email. They'll take down the listing. They're not going to suspend me right away. And I've never been the one to do it again when eBay's told me not to. I did that many, many, many years ago with stun guns, where I had a stun gun that was a stun stick, which is not legal to sell on eBay. They'll throw it off. So I decided I was going to sell it as a stun wand. And that worked for about a month before they took it down, and then suspended my account for 3 days. That was like, 13 years ago? No more of that for me. Let's see. Tommy says, no matter the platform, we need items people want. Yeah, you got to get those items people want. And I was watching another channel. I do that all the time. You guys know that. And the analogy kind of killed me. The guy had 15 shirts for I think $15 a piece, and 5 shirts at like 70, 75 bucks a piece. Which one would you rather have? And for me, it's building the value in the store. Give me the 5 shirts at 15. That's less work I have to do, rather than the smaller return, even though in the end they make the same profit. I don't know the logic there. The answer that they gave was totally opposite. But for me, higher end, higher value gets more, to me, attention. Then I think the price point that's up to $20, I think, if I had to guess, probably 75% of eBay is under $20. Why do you want to find items that are in that mix of just madness? I would rather have higher end items, less work to do, more value in your store per listing. Build up, forget the number of items you're listing, build up X amount of value. So instead of $10,000 in value that's up for sale in your store, you work on in the same number of listings, instead of adding $2,000 in value for 100 listings, you're adding $5,000 in value in 100 listings. And to me, that's kind of where you want to aim for. So I agree with that 100%. You need to focus on your items, the quality of items that you're posting. And chances are, based on the brands, if you do deal with good brands, that's going to take care of it itself. That value is going to skyrocket in your store. If you have, for instance, people aren't selling Nike shoes for $10. I mean, yeah, they might be. They're underselling them or they're just thrashed. Chances are that the price point on the average pair of Nikes are a lot higher than $20 as compared to, say, an off-brand shoe. And I'm going to be getting a lot of off-brand shoes, and I'm kind of making the opposite argument. The fact that I bought 324 pairs of $25 shoes, girls' shoes, but the price at 50 cents per pair in the box, brand new, are just too good to pass up. So I'm only using that model because that's my sourcing, right? I don't have access like Tommy does. Tommy has, someone that he deals with, holds all these pairs of shoes in various conditions, and he buys them in a bulk lot. And, good on him. That works for him. And that is, of course, the method he's using, and he'll continue to do it until that source goes away. That is the number one key to me. Find that source that you can rely on day in and day out, however it is. Maybe you buy it weekly, maybe you buy it once a month, and that they're always going to take care of you. They're looking for that constant stream of income, right? So they're going to look for you. They're going to take care of you. And I'm striving right now to find that relationship with someone, a vendor, liquidator, someone that I can count on, knowing what type of merchandise I'm going to have every month. Right now, that's just not the way it is for me. Let's see. Ed says, Christmas tree, Halloween and Thanksgiving hasn't passed. I could tell you there's people that keep their Christmas stuff up year round. And for those of you who don't know who this is, there's a very popular poker player by the name of Daniel Negreanu. And he's out here in Vegas. And he was doing his World Series of Poker vlog back in June. And he was walking around his house. He has a white Christmas tree with red ornaments up year round in his house. So I'm not saying that's now a thing, but to say you're just setting up a little early, she's just excited. But yeah, it's some people, they leave their lights on. You'll notice they'll leave their lights on their house all year long. And sometimes they won't even turn them off. Very, very weird. Derek Brooks says, hey, what do you do when you send an item to a buyer and it arrives damaged? The buyer won't send pictures of a box or damage, have no way to file insurance claim, not like USPS would approve it anyway. Well, they're going to say item damaged on the return request. So you just got to accept the return. You could write off your loss and just say, here's a refund, but what's to say they're not just saying that? Now, an honest person would take a photo and you might say, look, I want to work with you. If the item is damaged the way you say it is, it gives me more options to do something for you than to make you have to package this thing up and to send it back. Now, you can't receive that back and then file a claim. That just isn't the way it works. So the buyer, the recipient of the package, has to contact the carrier and to start that claim process. And if they're not cooperating, there isn't a whole lot you can do, unfortunately. Now, if anyone's had a different experience, put that in the chat. But it's not been my experience where an uncooperative buyer that's stating a damaged item, the only way you can really do it is have them open a return and send it back. Started Poshmark at end of April, 600 sales, which isn't a lot, but 0 returns. That's part of the fees as well. Well, that's awesome. 600 sales on Poshmark is pretty strong. That's for sure. You should be an ambassador by now with those kind of numbers, but that's pretty strong. BiscuittButt says Jenna's hiding Easter eggs right now. Yeah, I think she is. It's a trick or treat Thanksgiving, Christmas. I think I'm going to be Santa Claus for Thanksgiving, for Halloween. When they come to the door, I'll have like a Santa bag full of candy and stuff. But anyone ever noticed, like the last few years, there's not a whole lot of trick-or-treating as much as there used to be. And it's really, I don't even know if it's worth it. You end up with a whole bowl full of candy, and I don't need it. So, maybe years ago I was looking forward to that, but I certainly just don't like spending 30, 40. And that stuff's not cheap. It's pretty expensive. You're buying all that candy, and two kids show up, and after 6 o'clock, there's nothing. So I don't know. My wife says, I'm going to put some fall decor into it. It'll be nice when all the kids come for Thanksgiving. Could certainly decorate it for each holiday of the month. Oh boy. We have the room we have a pretty big living room, but I don't really think I'm gonna get kind of tired of that thing come November, to be honest with you. Tommy says, using USPS during Q4 is a big mistake. I go exclusively UPS all of Q4. They're the only ones that can handle it. Yeah, and again, it depends on what you're selling. So if you're selling shoes, you're looking at, most shoes are going to be like the upper end of the smallest pair, you're going to be like around £1. The heavier boots and things like that might be 2-3 pounds. So you're kind of within the UPS range anyway for a lot of those pairs. And even at a 1 to 2 pound range, you could still get very comparable rates with USPS. Let's see. Ed says, I've never had a problem with USPS during Q4. 2 years ago, a lot of people did. You can ask a lot of people in this chat. They'll tell you that they had a lot of issues missing packages, and it was a mess. If UPS had first class shipping, then I'd switch over everything to UPS. Yeah. And to me, when I'm sourcing, I'm looking for smaller items that would fit within the first class packaging due to the cost. It allows me to set items at free shipping. I kind of like that extra boost because of free shipping. Just build it in your item. Now, it doesn't hurt me when they open a return, because it's not going to, if I'm paying $3 for a label, $3 for a return label ain't going to kill me either. So that's what works for me. Ultimately, you got to do trial and error and see what works best for you. Donna says, in New York here, it's not unusual to get mail at 8 to 9 p.m. But if you're relying on your carrier to pick up your items, I'm wondering, during that time, you get your mail 8 to 9 p.m., how many times, if you had a pickup schedule, did they not show up? And then what do? Do you rush down? You go to the open USPS center. Of course, the scan in the machine ain't going to work. I mean, it'll work, but it's not considered an official scan. You drop it in the package bin, and chances are it's not going to be scanned till the next day, and that's a late scan. Let's see. Miriam says, my mail lady is grouchy. No matter how nice we are, she just doesn't smile nor responds like she's paying attention to us. Yeah, it's a union shop. And I've been involved in a union shop most of my life. They have union protection. They get good benefits, decent pay, and they're happy with that. Maybe they're working them long hours if they're getting off at 7 or 8 o'clock or whatever it is. Bad on USPS for doing that to their employees. But at the end of the day, you still got to take care of your customers, and to show up at 7 o'clock. And what they do is they deliver their mail that's in their truck, and then they make it a point to come back at the end of the route instead of just picking it up while you're here. I've told her many times, look, I can't take the risk. I can't risk you not showing up or your backup, because they don't always keep the same days off either. I can't risk not knowing that and your backup not showing up. Okay. And let alone she not show up, which she hasn't for, a couple times as well. So I'm not going down that route. I'd rather just take it every day if I have to, but I'm going to talk to someone about it because it shouldn't be that way. Ed, the reselling writer, for the Poshmark fees, just look at it like a pizza. You're still getting 80% of that pizza. That's good when you want more eyes on your items, and the shipping is great for 3 pounds and above. Okay, trying to make us all hungry, I see. Tommy says, mail people don't realize how good they have it. They're used to just stocking arm in mailbox. Now they have to waddle to the porch a few times with parcels. Boohoo, try UPS for a day. Yeah, Yeah, you're right. And I'm working on trying to get a UPS daily pickup because I need to do that as well. Ed says, where do you get your boxes, Tommy? Are they the same dimensions as the USPS shoebox? Now, here's a hack, and I don't know what you guys think about it, but a lot of people like to double box their shoes. Now, of course, it's a good idea if you're dealing with major brands. Someone spent $200 on a pair of shoes. You're probably going to want to go that route. Find a box that's going to fit the retail packaging so that that box doesn't get dinged up for many reasons. I mean, especially if you're sending it into authentication, because if your box is all jacked up, it could get rejected. But if we're dealing with a pair, let's say, of shoes you bought at the thrift store, or you have the retail box, but it's just a $20, $30, $40 pair of shoes and there's no authentication required. The way I do it is this. I will take a couple layers of bubble wrap that shoe box real good, throw it in a poly mailer, and form the poly mailer to the box so it actually looks like a box, but it's a box in a bag type situation. And whether I'm using cubic rates on Pirate Ship or not, which I won't in that situation because it has to look like an envelope, I'll still utilize UPS or USPS, and I don't have to go out and have 1,000 boxes. The poly bags are a lifesaver. I'm going to make a video. Was talking to Archie about showing you guys what I do. I've never had anyone complain about my shipping. I think I had one item that I should have shipped a little differently. That was on me. But other than that, I've not had any problems with it. Let's see. BiscuittButt says, my mail guy gave me his number and we text daily. He lets me know when he's off and I message him as I have a larger than normal pickup. Is there something else you're not telling us, Archie? I don't know, man. Eddie Estrada, I don't get that many repeat buyers, but I do get bulk orders more often. Carla Carmichael says, be careful at the thrift shop during this busy time of year. I got verbally assaulted and physically assaulted at a Goodwill for a $5 pair of shoes. Are you serious? Yeah, Black Friday's coming, and that's kind of the mentality. That's horrible. It's just not worth it. And I got a sale. You guys are lucky. Wasn't that big of a sale, like a $20 sale. One of the sales, I want to get my average sale, sale price, ASP, up above that. But hey, I'm happy to make the sale. Not a big sales volume as far as money is concerned this weekend. A lot of smaller items, and that's what I've been loading in my store the last few months. So you reap what you sow, right? That's why if you can, get the higher priced stuff in your store. The fact that I went to that yard sale this weekend was awesome. If you guys watched my video I put out over the weekend, went to the yard sale with American Arbitrage and Lady Arbitrage, and Jenna went as well. Community yard sale, and I gotta say, man, found stuff for like $5 that list that the comps show 60, $70 on. That's what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, the pallets aren't as good as they used to be. They used to be loaded with that kind of stuff, and not so much anymore. No One Design says you don't wear armor when you go out to the Goodwill. So you might have to, wear full body armor just to get, some sourcing done. That's pretty bad. Hopefully that's just a one-off thing. BiscuittButt says Goodwill is bad, and Ed says I only go when I have to. Callie Deb says, hello, John and everyone. Thanks for hanging out with us. Carla says, I called out Goodwill employee for not restocking shoes and placing them on the shelves, but handing them out to people that she knows. That is unfair, but unfortunately, if you've developed a relationship with people, there's people that I know that know Walmart managers, and before that stuff gets put on a clearance, they get notified and they get down there and get the good stuff, and it's not there when you and I want to get it. Eddie says, I had a scammer from Mexico try to scam me on eBay yesterday. Somehow by requesting total, eBay told me he's lying and trying to scam me because I have a global shipping he didn't need to request. Yeah, block. Just a block. They send you a message. It doesn't sound right. It sounds fishy. Something's off about it. Just go and block them. It's not worth it. Mark Allen says, when a buyer makes a purchase and asks to cancel, then the item fails to relist. Even when you go to relist manually, will I be flagged by eBay? I did end up relisting, use the option to sell similar. No. In fact, a lot of times, because I don't trust eBay and their ability to relist the item that I just canceled, many times I've done that. And then I find I have 50 to 60 items on my shelves that aren't even listed, have been unlisted for months. And it's because I've relied on eBay to do that for me. So I will then go in and piggyback off of that listing, sell similar, and just launch it. Let's see. And I just call out lies. If it flips, it ships one. Mark, when you cancel, you can relist on that page. And Eddie says he must be marked as a scammer on his file because two reps told me the same thing. Yeah, anything that's sketchy, and shame on eBay if they already know someone's a scammer and they're allowing them to maintain an account on the site to contact sellers. Shame on them for not taking action. Mike Mazzella, gotta love when a buyer buys an item, pays for it, then cancels 5 minutes later. Well, you know what's going on with that, Mike, right? One of the promoted strategies that eBay utilizes is once the buyer pays for the item, the bottom of the screen, it'll show a bunch of the same items. And chances are they're finding, hey, wait, I just paid Mike $30 for this item. This seller is selling for 25. So they go in and they want to cancel your item. They give the buyer up to an hour to cancel, but I would say like 95% of cancellations I ever get are within 5 minutes of that cha-ching. So if I get cancellation request here in 5 minutes, we know what happened. But after 5 minutes of this sale, I'm pretty, more often than not, pretty much home free. They're not going to bother with it. Trying to avoid the side comments here. Mark Allen says, I was annoyed when the item kept failing to relist because I was worried I'd be flagged by eBay. They would put shadow restrictions on my sales. My sales dropped that day and still have not recovered. Try doing some sell similars on some old, maybe some items that have been in your store for a while. Tweak the items, tweak the photos, tweak the title, and of course, best bet is to tweak the price. Jesse says, do you know how I can make a sale private? Well, I believe in the old listing tool, there is a box you check, and I don't know about it in the new lister. If anyone can put that in the chat, I'd appreciate it. BiscuittButt says, please hit the like button. I appreciate that, guys. If you hit the like button, it's right an hour and 12 in. We're going to go about another 10 to 15 minutes, and then I'm going to wind down here and try to catch up to your messages here. Edward McHugh says, why do we need photos in the listing and item specifics and a description art pictures worth 1,000 words? So they are. I mean, well, they're worth 1,000 words in theory, but with eBay has a lot of different things that they do. They have a search engine, right? And you think, okay, well, I have a good title, and eBay's looking at that title to determine if that buyer's search kind of matches my title. But the whole point of the item description is sometimes you can't get everything about that item in the first 80 characters you have to work with, which is called your title. And so maybe you need to add more background about this item, what it is, what it does, how it works. And eBay looks at all of that to determine if your item's a best match for that buyer. And that's why you need that. And then, of course, once the search results come up, you have two items. One that looks like, Usain Bolt just ran the 40-yard dash right by the item with the camera in their hand, or someone that took a professional looking photo. That's what attracts buyers. So a good photo will attract a buyer to click on that. Let's say it all pops up in search. A good quality listing, a good quality price is what attracts the buyer to click on your listing. BiscuittButt, you all would rarely hear John complain, but I, on the other hand, would always hear him complain. Yet you, yet you continue to call me. No, I'm just giving you a hard time, buddy. We have a great time talking about eBay. I kind of use him as a soundboard when it comes to topics. And like today, a lot of times I want to do a live on a Monday, but I want to give a topic to start off the conversation. And I find that I'm usually in the seller forums looking at seeing what an interesting topic would be. And of course, this whole PO box thing was an issue for both of us at the same time. So you know what? Chances are maybe someone else out there is having an issue with someone. Noah Design 2 says, would you buy anything online with just a picture and no information behind it? Certainly not. No, I mean, maybe if it was the only one there and the price was great, because I know how eBay works as a seller. And we got our buddy Mike in the house. I didn't see that, Mike. Hold on, let me catch up to you here. Thank you for the super chat, buddy. Thank you very much. I know Mike is coming to Vegas here in later this month, so make sure you hit me up. I'm not going to that reseller remix. To me, it's just a lot of stuff. I mean, I know a lot of the information already. It's a networking thing. Yes, I know. I'm already out here in Vegas. I could just meet up with people after the event out downtown or where everyone's going to be. And let me know if you guys are coming to that event out in Vegas. I don't know the exact dates, but you know what? Let me know when you're going to be out here, and BiscuittButt and I will be happy to kind of roll down and to meet you guys. That's 100% for me. Beto Skix says, sold a pair of sneakers. The buyer from the UK picked up USPS but wanted me to pay extra for FedEx. People will try you. Yeah, they will. They will. Maybe, just maybe, it worked. They have had a better experience with FedEx. Maybe their carrier is not very good. And I had an item that was sent back to me, and they claimed I received it, and it was like 3 days later before I got it. So it could be that they have had bad experience with that. Let's see. Tommy says, no returns just makes you look like a scammer. No confidence in your items. No one in their right mind does no returns. It's funny. I think I've told the story. I had someone that opened a return on my item because they didn't like it. And they're a seller who had no returns on any of their items. I thought it was a little rich, but nonetheless, it is what it is. Let's see. Purple Hustle. Is it just me, or does the eBay app not showing the option to check item condition? It does. In fact, it makes you fill that in the item specifics. There's been a couple of times I've tried to launch a listing and I just totally forgot to put the item condition. And I think that happened to me once today. I was just kind of scrambling around. But if it's anytime you have an issue with the app, this is what you want to do. If you find that something keeps popping up on the app and it's just not right, go in and delete the app and re-download it. And a lot of times that'll fix the problem. Kate Pickram says, hello, I'm late, so I'm going to go back to the start. Have a great evening. Thanks, John. Thanks, Kate. Well, when you rewatch this, you'll see that I've said thanks, Kate, and thank you for at least dropping in and saying hi. I appreciate that. Let's see. Happy Girl Creations recently had Mercari buyer say item not received, and I learned he also scammed another seller out of a similar item. Their item turned up in his Facebook page. Do you think Mercari will accept screenshots as evidence? I don't think so. I've dealt with Mercari, and they're not really reasonable. It's almost like they're operating off of a script. I had a buyer lie on me about she wanted me to ship a big set of bathroom mats by media mail. And she didn't want to pay because it was like 5 pounds. It was a pretty big, bulky one of those sets of the memory foam bathroom mats, and they're kind of bulky because of that. And she finally agreed to the price and paid Mercari the label. I don't know exactly what she paid, but she gave me bad feedback on Mercari because I didn't want to listen to her advice and I overcharged her for shipping. And if Mercari would just go back and look at the messages back and forth, they would see that this particular buyer was trying to circumvent the USPS rules to save some money on shipping. So you're going to have bad buyers no matter what the platform. I just let it go. You could open a IC3.gov case and state that you were scammed and they got their money back, but yet they got the item. You could go that far if it was a very high-end item. Otherwise, I just move on, write it off as the cost of doing business. And then Tommy says, we've been over this 100 times. I polybag 99% all of shoes. One thing I learned from Hustle Hacks, I don't know if you've checked out that channel. I haven't seen his channel in a long time, but he is like one of the big YouTubers that do sneakers. And one of the hacks that I learned from him is to take a roll of like saran wrap type material, plastic wrap, and take your shoes and sort of invert them one on top of the other and wrap them with that wrap. And then, I throw a layer of bubble wrap anyway if I don't have a box, and get them in that, if I can get them in a flat rate padded envelope, USPS, if it's over a pound, I'll do that. Otherwise, I just put it in that poly bag. And like, for instance, I'm ordering a bunch of poly bags right now. And like, for instance, 100 10 by 13 poly bags, less than $10. 200 9 by 12 poly bags, different colors, $16. 19 by 24, 50 of them, $16. I mean, I think I just ordered 100 or 200 24 by 24s, which is quite big. They have them up to 36 by 36. I guess if you can make a pair of shorts out of them if you want. Those things are great. I love polybagging a lot of stuff, rather than just slapping a label on a box. I like the box in the bag model with adequate bubble wrap. It just shows your customers that you care. I think I haven't had any problems with it. No Designs is I cut up, roll into a tube and use polybag, but that's just me. Okay. And I'm going to do a video on shipping here, I think, pretty soon. Once I get past these pallets that I have coming this week, then I'll jump into something like that. Savage Pickers says, great items at higher dollar prices elevates your store. I think so. I heard a sound and thought I got a sale. 7 sales a day. About to go to the post office soon. They close at 9. I wish mine closed at 9. Then I'd be glad to wait till 7 for this lady to show up. 1% of the shoes that Tommy sells, it goes in USPS shoebox or a similar size box from the boxery or dress shoes, mainly, or rare sneakers, right? To protect that original box, I think. Purple Hustle. I usually don't print out a label until 20 minutes after a sale because you're right. Cancellations usually come 5 minutes after someone purchases. And honestly, I got to batch my processes. So I do my shipping like tonight. I'll do my shipping for tomorrow. So, you know what? If someone drops me a cancellation, this is my policy. A lot of people think I'm a jerk for doing this, but to me, it's this way. If you want to cancel, you have an hour to do it, and that's just a request, right? It's just a request. We don't have to accept the cancellation. It may feel like it because eBay will hide the item from your orders. You can still ship that item out. To me, that buyer doesn't do the courtesy of just reaching out and saying, hey, look, I screwed up. Even give me the line. Lie to me. Talk to me. If your 3-year-old went on and learned how to use eBay and navigate through the system and just bought that that cooking set, right, that you've always wanted, and your 3-year-old knew to do that, lie to me. I'm happy with that. I will cancel your order, and that's it. But if you just think that you're going to get lazy on me and just set a cancellation request, unless I just don't want to bother with that item, maybe I've looked at your feedback and see you're a problem, I'll ship it. And that's just me. A lot of people think I'm a jerk when I said that the last time, but that's me. I'm not telling you guys to do that. But this is a business, right? Most of us are adults that are on eBay, right? And you have to go through a series of clicks to get to the sale and actually pay for the item. Now, if something changes after that, well, you've already entered into a binding contract and paid your money. Now, if you have maybe a need to cancel, I bought the wrong one, send me a message. But because of eBay's game, where they show your item to or their item or a competitor's item after they paid for it, I'm not playing that game. And 9 times out of 10, when someone goes through all those steps to buy your item and then they want to cancel, it's because they found a lower price online. And I'm just not willing to play that game with these adults. Okay. So when eBay makes a site for children, then I'll give those customers a little bit more leeway. Until then, no, 11th Pokeball says, do you think it makes any difference to save the product image files with the keywords in the file name before you upload? No bit of difference at all. I just maybe save it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 if I save it at all, because I upload it to my Dropbox. Carlos says, just had a weird thing happen to me right on Mercari. I sold an item last night around 11 p.m. Today I look at the post office around 3 p.m. and I just got a message from Mercari saying transaction was completed, but item is in transit. Well, if it's completed, I think that's in your favor, because I don't think there's anything that can be done. Once it's completed, that means check the money to see if the money was sent over to your account. Let's see. Trying to get to some folks here. Cosmic Corgi. I just sold my first item and noticed that my shipping label had my maiden name on it. I have updated that for future items, but will this be a problem for this sale? No, it won't be a problem. They'll probably not even notice it. If it was a good transaction, then all is well with the world. You might want to update that information through eBay. It's like when you move, you update your address, that type of thing. So it's not going to hurt anything, though. Someone was talking about Fiverr. I didn't see the remark, so I apologize. Tommy says, clear poly 12 by 15 and eBay poly 12 by 15, 2 layers, no thinking, 4,000 shoes, 100%. That's right. You find what works for you. You can get these poly bags for like 5 to 10 cents a piece. Try finding your boxes like that. And if you're selling a high enough volume, it's going to add up. So you want to keep your cost, not only your cost of goods low, but your cost of supplies low as well. Jay says, I just won against the buyer's remorse buyer for 20 solely for principal. Yeah. I don't know if that was a chargeback, but yeah, definitely. Don't think of that. I will fight chargebacks more often than not. Forget the $20, the fear of losing that $20, right? If you do everything you're supposed to do, provide eBay with all the information, watch one of my videos where I talk about chargebacks and how to navigate through eBay's antiquated system on fighting chargebacks, you're going to be just fine. Let me just see here real quick. I think that is pretty much it. There's a fight about polybags going on in the chat. So, you know what? I think polybags is the best way to go in most items. And I don't just reserve it for shoes. Anything that's not easily broken, breakable, whatever you want to say. My English isn't too great today. It's my first language. Anything that's not easily breakable, then polybag with the bubble wrap is the way to go. And I do it all the time. You want to figure that out when you're listing it. Figure out how you're going to ship it. eBay wants you to put the dimensions and the weight in there. So that's the time you want to figure out how you're going to be shipping it. So carry boxes on hand. Use your coupon. Right now, if you have a store, you can utilize your coupon. Go on to eBay, save 25, 50, or whatever size store you have. Stock up on some boxes just in case, and then go wherever you find some good deals on poly bags. I go onto Amazon, and that's where I buy my poly bags, and I get them in a couple days with Prime, and I'm happy. And if you have a supplier that gets you better deals than 5 to 10 cents per poly bag, then jump on that, because that's a good deal. So I just want to thank you guys for hanging out with me today. Again, another Monday. I'm optimistic that sales are going to be better than they were. I mean, I had a great August, but that's what really gets me hoping that sales are going to be better. And we're going to get into Q4, into like November and December. And I guess that'll tell everything. And some of us are killing it, some of us aren't. But if you're not killing it, you want to get in there and start looking at what's going on with your listing. Check out some of my previous videos. Like over the last month, I've given you a lot of ideas to look into to see how you can jumpstart your listings so that you're not just wondering, why isn't my stuff not selling? But as far as P.O. box issues or items like that where the buyer doesn't give you the proper address and you've done everything you're supposed to do, let the buyer deal with eBay, provided you didn't make an error. Let the buyer deal with eBay to reconcile that and to figure out what's going on that end, because As you dive into it, you're going to find you're not going to be able to do a whole lot anyway. But yet that's just another example of how flipping ain't easy. I can't get my thumb in the right direction because this camera's backwards. And I want you guys to have an excellent start to your week. Get listing, get a lot of stuff up. This is the time to get your stuff up, guys. If you're sitting on a death pile, don't let it continue to die. Get that stuff up and get those sales. So we'll talk to you here very soon. I'll have a video out here this week. And until next time, have a great day. And there goes my alarm. Have a great day, everyone.